Hello everyone, I am Usha Mukherjee, a student of Srinath Law College and presently interning with Lexis and Company. Today I am going to discuss about the right to protest. It is something that all of us want to do when we are deprived of something. But today we are going to understand that how these right to protest works, what safety measures we have so that we are not suppressed by the government, and to what extent can the right of protest be used. For this understanding, we will cite some of the recent protests, that is the Citizenship Amendment Act protest that happened in 2019, the farmer protest that happened in 2020, and it has actually completed 7 months of protest even. So these are some of the protests we get to know now. Now, the democracy of the country stands on the people. It is dependent on the people of the country, and the people are actually the stepping stone of the democracy. Now, the new policies are brought regularly by the government, and these new policies have certain loopholes. They had to be identified by the people, by the individuals or the citizens of the country, and these loopholes are actually pointed out by way of protest. And only then the government comes to know about the problems of the people and they rectify these problems. Now, very important thing is the protest must be peaceful. Any protest that is violent, that is actually aimed at creating havoc in the society or instigating the people is not allowed. Anything, first we have to remember that the right to protest or the protest is not a very new mechanism. It started during the British period. We had the Quit India movement, the various dependent movements that made India free. And even after independence in 1952, there was the Andhra movement in which the Telugu speakers, the people who had their language as Telugu, wanted a separate state called the Andhra state, and then the Andhra Pradesh was made. Then we can tell about 2011 protest, that was a corruption protest during the Anna Hazare period. In 2012, there was a Nirbhaya protest, which was regarding the laws for the women's safety and everything. Now the people has a right to raise their voice and a right to protest, and that is guaranteed by Article 19. Though it is not mentioned, that the word protest is not mentioned, it is given under three headings like the right to speech and expression, the right to have a peaceful assembly without arms, the right to form associations. All these things are actually under the domain of Article 19. Now, the Article 19 itself will provide certain restrictions, like if this protest is against the integrity of the state, against the sovereignty of the state, against the security of the state, or is threatening their relationship with other countries, then such a protest cannot be termed as lawful. The right to protest in maximum countries is protected, encouraged, and respected, though not absolute. Now, even while protesting, people have sometimes faced the police brutality. Sometimes they are victim of excessive force. Sometimes they comes under the purview of the laws like the UAPA, sedition laws, or the National Security Acts. In the last few years, we can see that almost 1,000 to 5,000 were detained or arrested. 300 or more people were dead during all these things. Now, the Human Rights that Commission says that these reports have made India come down a lot in the Human Development Index because so much of oppression was there. Now, if we come to the Supreme Court interpretations or the court's interpretations regarding how can we protest or how much can we protest, what are the safeguards and what are the limitations, we have to first cite the case of Amit Shani versus Commissioner of Police. In this case, the court held that the public cannot actually, for the way of protest, occupy a public place for indefinite period, and in that case the police or the authorities have power to clear that area. The second part was Mazdoor Kishan Shakti Sangathan versus Union of India, that was a 2000 years in the 21st century case. It also told that the right to hold demonstrations and the right to commute has to be balanced very well. The next case was Ramlila Maidan's case. There is a Ramlila Maidan Secretary versus Union of India, where Ramdev actually started yoga sessions in the Maidan, and there only the protest was held against black money. Many negotiations were tried to be held, but it did not work well. After that, Section 144 was imposed of the CRPC. Then the police raids did the Ramlila Maidan. In this case, the court held that citizens had a fundamental right of assembly and peaceful protest, which cannot be taken away by the authorities or by any arbitrary legislative or executive power. Then the crux remains that the peaceful protest is lawful. Unlawful protest is violent protest and not peaceful protests. And it has to be for the public good, and it cannot have a very bad motive. Now, it is like a very important right, because it helps us to voice our demand, and that is actually the backbone of the society. That's all for today. See you soon, and let me know how you like it.